going good. It's a nice start to the Saturday here, and I appreciate you joining me. You happen to be around and hopping on to do some co-casting. I always appreciate it.
Of course.
You seem like you know what you're talking about, at least. So,
Do I?
yeah,
Thank you.
it's good to have you on for
Appreciate
that
that.
reason, if anything. Yeah. No, excited to have you here. So we got our first game at least of BMG versus ECX. So let's take a look at this draft that we've been flying through here. We got Magebane into Midas, Lodestone into Warbeast are the bands, Rhapsody, Behemoth, Pebbles, Voodoo Jester, Ophelia, and Puppet Master. So obviously Voodoo Jester one that may be standing out a little bit, but what are your thoughts on this draft here so far? What you got?
Okay, so BMG bans out the Mage Bane. In my opinion, that's probably the strongest carry at the moment on the scene. They did recently just change Mach, putting it back to magic damage.
That's right.
And that kind of tones down Solomon and Sandwraith, which were kind of at the same tier as Mage Bane, in my opinion. So those two carries I think got brought down slightly, and that just means that Mage Bane's a little bit above them, so they take that out. Midas and Lodestone, two really strong initiators. Lodestone, not a common ban, but BMG is going to be running a push strat, so they have that in mind, so they ban out the Lodestone. Warbeast gets banned out. That's a fantastic hero. So nothing too standout. BMG has recently been doing this Ophelia, Pebbles, and Scrims the past week or so. So it's nothing out of the ordinary at the moment that they do pick this up. And something that I want to point out is that Fuzen does play the Ophelia, and they also like to put Make on the support role. So that's a little bit different, and I want to look to see if I believe that's what they're going to do this game. Also, they are using a ringer. I don't know who Teal is, so...
I don't know, yeah. It's a basic account. It was like
yeah,
just
so
created.
I have no clue what to expect or where he's going to be going, what hero, what lane, whatsoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so far BMG's lineup, and they pick up the bubbles, so they're going to have another initiator with the pebbles. And then for ECX, we got Imba Boy's signature Puppet Master, and they do like their Behemoth. They also pick up the Voodoo Jester for the Ophelia minions, so that's a good support hero. And then they go with the Chipper, which another hero that's good at dealing with anti-push a little bit with that Saw Blade Showdown, so a unique pick a little bit, but interested to see how this one's going to work out.
Yeah. Interesting to put a or make a point of the ringer situation. Of course, again, this event especially, it's almost was expected to an extent with a little bit of a break that we had, and with this event again, the idea of this is to kind of keep teams warmed up, keep teams going here until the eventual playoffs, if anything. So not necessarily expecting A+ rosters every single game and everything, which is understandable. But we definitely got that continuing a little bit, as you pointed out today. Yeah, Schwimpy, don't know really anything about. And again, of course, Doomgrowl and even Panny over here.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out as well.
So,
glad you did.
Yeah, a couple of players there. Madman, the final pick, though, coming out for BMG. So, yeah, you mentioned this Ophelia lineup, Fusing kind of going to his jungle gameplay here. So that'll be exciting to see how he does. But... the Madman final pick. I guess that has to be their carry, right? So, gonna end up in Baltimore.
Yeah, and what BMG tends to like to do is they like to short lane their pebbles, get him the fast portal key, and then put Boxy on the carry in the off lane. So he gets what he can in the early game, and then he recovers once they get the snowball from Ophelia and Pebbles going. So it's a strategy that BMG's been practicing a bit lately, and they've been getting it down quite well, I would say, from what I've seen in the recent week. So
all right.
it's not out of the ordinary. And then they like to put Baltazar on that solo role. So he steps out of his comfort zone a little bit, playing that carry. We normally like to see him on that hard carry, but he actually plays the middle initiator when they run these type of lineups. And then ECX is going to finish their lineup off with a Chronos. So got a little bit more AoE synergy with the Chipper and the Behemoth. Although they will not be able to jump in with the Shockwave and the Chronosphere at the same time. So that is one drawback to their synergy.
Yeah.
But Zane going to be playing that, so perhaps an offlane or solo laning Chronos.
Yeah, somewhat old school here with the Chronos Suicide. Obviously, again, season 3, I want to say it was, the later part of season 2. Anyways, the point is, he definitely has that history of being a suicide hero, but obviously that was changed a little bit. The idea of the changes made to the hero were supposed to make it more of appealing, if anything, to be in that carry. But we have seen, Sync Esports in the latest season. They ran as the carry several times from time to time. But yeah, going to the suicide here, at least that's what Zane typically plays, of course. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works out for them. So yeah, definitely some unique things going on either side. You got Jayoli right away, TPing to the bottom lane, and getting a ward of sight actually down to block the camp over here, as well as get some nice rune vision. So very early and aggressive ward there being put down, but doesn't look like any interaction necessarily going to be happening as a result of all this, though. This BMG is going to avoid it. Boxy does go to the top, as you pointed out, so yeah, he is going to be in that carry role just on the more of the off lane here, at least to start. Want to prioritize the pebbles, of course, as you're pointing out. So yeah, it seems like, again, BMG's been practicing a little bit, which is honestly pretty good to hear.
Yeah,
point,
definitely.
So.
And something to point out is that Charlie actually uses both of their sight wards relatively in close proximity. One is going to block the hard camp from Ophelia. Another is going to give them a little bit of some vision, spotting out maybe some Ophelia rotations. But if Fuzen is lucky, which actually he's going to pick up boots and switch jungles, but if he were to have been lucky and went to D-ward this, he could have actually gotten both wards. So that could have been very unfortunate if that were the case. Taking out both their sight wards very early on, but
yeah,
looks like that won't be happening, at least for their sake.
Yeah, that really is a pretty risky placement there from Jayoli, but as you're pointing out, not going to be the case anyway. So unless Ophelia is actually coming back down to the bottom now, something through. I guess they do have the ward side over here, and yeah, he did see both the Voodoo Jester and the Behemoth coming up here. So making a point of, okay, never mind, I'm going to go back to my own jungle and instead farm down here. So that could still be a possibility when he picks up on this this being blocked over here. Just a matter of getting that rev ward out. So very interesting. Going to keep an eye on that here. See what ultimately happens from it. But Bubbles versus Kronos here at the bottom lane. You see Kronos off the back. Going to take a lot of pressure before finally getting back to a creep wave here. But yeah, Bubbles, he's going to be able to easily harass this Kronos, it seems like.
Yeah, and I was actually going to point out, since ECX is running the dual support, they can pull the regen to the lanes, and Kronos goes for the Iron Shield at the very start. And I was going to point out that would help him a lot in the laning phase with the Bubbles harassment, but Bubbles actually already applying a lot of pressure, so that's a good job by Balthazar. Going to force Zane to eat through some of that regen early on, as he does have that Iron Shield to help him win his lane.
Yeah, the Iron Shield, again, that buff that happened, just even the +2 agility, but at the same time, so much, especially for early on in the game right here. So, yeah, having that to take advantage of at least. But, man, Balthazar, every single time Kronos comes up even a little bit, the auto attacks are going out. So, he really is making that a very high priority. Kronos already down at 3 Tree Eaters, so he is gets a couple more, it looks like, actually, and the health potion. So, yeah, he's making sure to have that regen work here. Did he get a rev ward? No, Ophelia has not got. I thought he might have had a rev ward delivered there, but never mind. He's going to be fine doing the other camps. Middle end in the meantime, Chipper's in trouble, and that's going to be a Bloodlust kill. Schwimpy, whoever you may be, you get the Bloodlust. Rhapsody getting it there. Obviously, though, a good combination coming out. And Chipper, pretty vulnerable unless he can get that focus buffer up there, but even so, he got the damage, so nice kill onto him, and yeah, you probably would expect that, huh? I mean, Chipper to possibly get killed once or twice in this middle lane. I mean, Pebbles Rhapsody, that's pretty deadly.
Yeah, there's a lot of a lockdown, and then once Pebbles gets a couple of levels up, the burst potential is quite high. So it's a tough lane for Chipper once they get a couple of levels, and they are both level 3 now, so there is that scare factor for Chipper. Gonna have to keep his positioning quite good in this lane.
Wow, Madman there. He actually got fairly low. He does have the Cursed Ground on him, but it is actually doing minimal damage at this point. So there you go, only +2 even. So he is going to be fine, but how has he been doing up here overall? 5-2. He is level 3, which isn't too bad. You know, he's keeping up with the Puppet Master, if anything, which is pretty good, if anything, kind of comparing it to Kronos, too. But obviously Madman's lane is a little tougher, no doubt. And he's actually rotating down here. Where's he going to end up? I mean, he does have potential to definitely assist for a kill early on. That's, you know, with the skill set, you know, decent damage coming out. And they're going to go for that here in the middle lane as I say that. Chipper trying to hero block him. There's the staccatos, and here's Madman to assist. The focus buffer was up, so you see Chipper. He's able to tank a bit of it, get some mana, but in the end, just not enough. So, nice roam by Boxy there. He actually gets credit for the kill even.
Yep, definitely. He's getting very little top, so decides to make himself useful elsewhere. And what better place than to continue where Pebbles is having a good time already. So that's a good rotation from Boxy, for sure.
So BMG.
Something to point out is that in the Legion jungle, we used 2 wards of Revelation to unblock the left hard camp, and this was actually the hard camp that was blocked with only a single rev. So that's very unfortunate, not very gold efficient, whereas the hard camp on the right is the one being blocked by both the site wards. So Ophelia gets at least 1 camp unblocked now, and now he has at least 1 hard camp to work with. Was working off the medium spawns prior to this, so that is at least good for Ophelia.
Yeah.
Middle lane, we have an Invis Rhapsody. Could see another kill attempt.
Well, they saw her, though. I was going to say they had the rev ward here. You see Voodoo Gesture happens to be nearby, going for the counterplay, and actually this is going to be some good damage on the Pebbles now. Not enough, though, in the end. So, yeah, they saw something coming. I think they caught glimpses of Rhapsody kind of poking in there with the Invis here because of the rev ward that was down. So that's definitely allowed them to react like they did and keep Chipper alive at the very least. But yeah, I mean, the focus buffer, you mentioned it very early on, you know, he is going to be vulnerable, but now the focus buffer being leveled up, it's a good amount of mitigation that he's going to start getting from it. Already 250.
That's a good fissure block.
Up to 500. Oh, fissure block in that middle lane. Pebbles actually in a lot of trouble right here. He's going to throw his stalagmite, say, I might take you with me. If anything, get away from me. The rockets are going to connect, but it's not enough damage. Can he land a couple more? I don't think so. I think Make should be fine. Unless Behemoth actually. You can get this fissure off. Yes, it is going to be in range. A side step. Oh,
what a
block
from
of the Catman champion. Ophelia assisting right there. Oh my gosh, and they're still going for it, but he's going to actually live. Wow. Good teamwork there. Losing the Catman, but still.
Very well played by Fusen to tank that rocket. But I got to point out, as the fissure block came out in the middle lane, Chipper actually missed his first 2 rockets. Had those rockets connected, that was 100% a kill on the Pebbles. So unfortunately, wasn't able to land the very initial rockets off the initial gag. Yeah. But yeah, really well played by Ophelia, blocking the rocket that would have definitely killed Pebbles.
Yeah. You got to hit those rockets, though, if you're Chipper. He's going to get a haste rune right here, at least with the bottle, so maybe can try to make a play with that. But yeah, as mentioned again, the focus buffer already 250. Going to be up to 500 magic damage absorption that he gets, on top of even getting some mana back as a result of that change that happened a while ago. So, you know, overall, pretty good tool to have here against this Legion team. I mean, you look across the board, it is a very magic-heavy team. Even Madman in a lot of ways early on. Obviously, he becomes physical threat, but one of those cases of he has a lot of magic presence earlier on in the game. So, definitely a solid tool to have. Baltazar, though, you can see typically does. He is getting some pretty good free time down here at the bottom lane. But he is playing Bubbles in this case. That's where it's a little different, obviously. Only 300 gold per minute, actually. I expected it to be a little higher, to be honest. But maybe he's been spending so much time harassing. That's why his GPM's kind of suffering a little bit, at least. Right here. But
yeah, in 1v1 scenarios, it's a lot harder for you to maintain that like 350 plus GPM, at least at this stage of the game, because both heroes are going to be contesting each other quite a lot. Kronos does have 8 denies, which is not too bad. So, you know, that's 8 creeps that Bubbles obviously would more likely than not have if he were in a 2v1 scenario free farming. So,
yeah.
1v1 scenarios, this is above 300 GPM is definitely solid. And you compare that to the 200 from Kronos, so he's definitely winning his lane.
Mm-hmm. And actually, some rotations coming out here. Obviously, since Pebbles bottom, and then Bubbles is going to head towards the middle lane. So changing things up a little bit here. Wanting to really make sure to capitalize on this Pebbles early farm, get that portal key, and make some plays with it. I guess the middle lane wasn't just going as well as they hoped for. And thus want to rotate him to the short lane, as we see here. So, yeah, a little bit of a mix-up, but in the end, ideally, still going to work out for BMG. Top lane, Madman might be in trouble. They lose a tower. He's trying to stalk away, but just way too much damage between that Cursed Ground, the Voodoo Puppet. Easy kill on a Madman, it felt like, especially with the rev ward there in the tower.
Yeah, so. Even had Behemoth coming in if they needed the fissure, but as we can see, definitely didn't need any more damage.
Mm-hmm. That's a tower kill on top of that. So the first kill of the game, but a pretty big one there for ECX. You look at the other side of the spectrum, Imba Boy, he is doing fantastic. 455 gold per minute now. And look at this, he's taking out a triple stack here in the jungle. He even got a Vagabond leader with that Whispering Helm of his to assist with some of the farm as well. So, yeah, 460 now and counting. So, again, Imba Boy, he's looking really good here early. He's going to have an Assassin Shroud pretty quickly even at this rate as well. So, oh, Chipper, meanwhile, middle lane, he completely whiffed the Rocket Barrage right there. Again, he's having some trouble hitting these, it feels like, and this may be the end of him as a result. It will be. Good job by Bubbles. The auto attacks going through the focus buffer, of course, only absorbs that magic damage, and it was enough to get the kill at the end. But yeah, he gotta fall Doomgrowl a little bit right there. He missed the Rocket Barrage at the beginning, and that kind of set up the turn for Bubbles. Bottom lane, Kronos. Oh, he's good. A little bit of rewind there. But, yeah, Chipper not having the best of starts, and he's definitely one that, I mean, I know he was 2v1'd against early on, and, you know, started a little bit because of that, but you would like to get some recovery here on Chipper. You think he should be fine? I mean, is he doing fine considering the circumstances, or?
It's really tough to say because I think his GPM could be at least around 200, but he has the 3 deaths, so that's why we're seeing it lower. But yeah, I think he could be doing slightly better, even considering the circumstances. But it's really tough, so it's hard to criticize at the same time. But yeah, Imba Boy doing what he's so well known for, and this is one of the heroes that we know Imba Boy for, his Puppet Master. He's going to have his Shroud in the next couple of minutes, and they've given the top lane to Behemoth, which is definitely what they need to do, seeing as how they have the 2 supports, whereas the Behemoth's not going to get any farm unless he is given some space. So he at least has level 5 now, closing in on level 6, but still needs a long ways away for his portal key. Actually pushes the top lane back in favor of Madman, so has to leave the top lane at least for now.
Yeah, so not going to be the best timing on the portal key here, at least from the looks of it right now, but we'll see how Panty on the Behemoth continues to recover with that and get that PK as soon as possible. You see the Ancients over here. It is a double stack, it looks like. I think they tried to triple stack it, actually, but something blocked it, / they might have just misjudged the pull right there. Anyways, they might end up leaving it now, just, again, to try to triple stack it and get the most efficient farm possible out of it, of course. But in the meantime, that means Pebbles, more time for him to get closer and closer to, well, he's actually just around the corner now. He has about 2,000 gold saved up, so one more creep wave early. He should pretty much have that portal key here. And that's where the game definitely starts to tell us a story as far as where it could end up going here. But man, Imba Boy, 470 GPM, cleaning out another stack right there. That Assassin Shroud is going to be huge. I mean, he's going to have the capability of bursting down any hero in this game that he finds, obviously, with that Assassin Shroud, so.
Yeah, once he hits level 11 and picks up the Shroud, opens with crit, he definitely has enough damage to take down any hero at the moment.
Yeah.
They do have the Ophelia's Touch, which will heal 200, but even so, I think it'll be very close to just about one-shotting anyone. So yeah, Ophelia she does have the 3 minions now. She is level 8. Pebbles gonna pick up his Blink once he goes to the shop, and this is kind of BMG's timing to make some kind of a sneaky, you know, like, we're gonna show you what we have play. They also get the Bubbles portal key picked up with that mid tower going down, so now they have 2 portal keys, and definitely would like to see BMG look for a play here.
Yeah, it really is that crucial spot, because again, with Puppet Master getting so close to that Assassin Shroud, Behemoth still not having the portal key. They're going to have to make some plays, and they're going for it right here. Kronos, is going to be enough damage. That's not. The rewind a little bit right there is enough to survive. I think the focus buffer was also applied to mitigate enough damage. Yeah, it felt like he survived a lot more than he should have right there, and I think that was a lot of it, the focus buffer especially coming into play. So good job by Chipper. And yeah, they just happened to be nearby. That was definitely a bait. And not only does he survive, but of course now they definitely know he has the portal key, so that surprise factor is no longer there. And that's pretty big for ECX, not falling victim right away, at least, to the portal key.
Yeah, and Bubbles has also shown himself in the middle lane, so they're very aware of him having a portal key as well. So the surprise factor is now gone for BMG.
As the middle lane, Pebbles, He is trying to bait out this Bubbles right here. You see, they find Voodoo Jester off to the side. Bubbles going in pretty deep right here, but again, the focus buffer, but the auto attack is too much. Again, going through it, of course. So, nice secure on the Chioli there at least. And that's the case of the Portal Key definitely working out. And I actually look up as actually Pebbles is going to go in. A nice combo to take out Chipper. So Ophelia going through the stops in the Minotaur. It wasn't even necessary, though. Just too much damage up front. And Chipper dropped pretty quickly there. I was going to say, though, it felt like, you know, especially with surviving at the bottom lane there, honestly, ECX was going to be in a decent spot. But, man, looking at the lead all of a sudden, holy crap, 7,200 gold lead. After that tower kill right there, 5,000 experience it just feels like this exploded all of a sudden for BMG here.
Yeah, and it's not only due to them having a couple more towers. They do have 3 compared to the 1 from ECX. But it really goes back to BMG's laning phase. They have 2 heroes that came out really well in the laning phase, whereas ECX only has that Puppet Master. And then on top of that, they have the jungler in Ophelia, who is about 300 GPM, compared to the secondary support Behemoth, only sitting at around 170. So there's a couple disparities, which is that's why we're seeing such a massive lead in favor of BMG. And, you know, they're definitely capitalizing with their big lead, being able to take these objectives with the tower pushes, since they have all these items picked up, the 2 portal keys, the Astrolabe, Ophelia, etc. at the moment.
Okay, so yeah, there's a Shroud on Puppet, but man, other than that, just nothing really going on. In fact, Puppet's going to be found here. He got the Rev War down, so the lockdown is real, and it is going to be enough to take him out. Pebbles taking a lot of return damage, but the Protective Melody saving the day. They're trying to kill the Voodoo Puppet. They do, but it doesn't matter because of that Melody. Meanwhile, Voodoo Jester down in the background. Behemoth, he's trying to get up a Shockwave. He couldn't, though. He ran back in, trying to spam R right there, I'm sure, but it just didn't go off. Double tap for Baltazar. And nearly 16 minutes into this game, this lead has just, it's now just a gushing wound here. I mean, ECX, they are really, really falling behind now, especially, again, the one shining star was at least Puppet and how successful he was going, but him dying right after he gets the Assassin Shroud here is not going to help their cause, unfortunately. So, obviously, you're not at that point of let's panic, let's concede, really, but this is looking so good for BMG right now. And now you figure Madman, obviously, is going to start making up some room here and trying to get his farm. I guess that's one thing that ECX definitely has going for them is that, well, they do have the carry presence right now, especially in the Puppet, compared to where BMG's at, you could argue. Obviously, in the early game, though, Pebbles is pretty good at that himself, so I don't know. Just trying to think positive here for ECX, but it's not easy.
Yeah, what needs to happen for ECX at the moment is they need to just try to dodge as much as possible. You know BMG is going to stick around as 5 and be grouping up. Get Behemoth his portal key. He's very close. He needs about another 400 to 500 gold. Look to defend their high ground once they have that picked up, and then just try to split push and get farm up on the Chronos and the Puppet Master. That's pretty much all they're able to do at the moment, because if they try to fight BMG head on 5v5, there's just no way they'll come out ahead.
Oh, that was interesting choice by Balthazar. I don't know if the shells or the kill fill was necessary there 100%, but it did absolutely secure the kill onto Chipper there in the end. Obviously, Pebbles starting that, but yeah, and Chipper is it goes without saying, you know, he's a killing hero, I guess, if that makes sense. And the point is, he wants to, a lot of his farm comes from, you know, getting the early lead of the levels and then being able to get kills as a result of that. He's not doing that here. He's 0-5-0. Seeing that is just not going to be good for the morale of ECX, knowing that that's why you pick up a hero like that, no doubt, is to get some earlier on kills and just not
and Chipper's one of those heroes where you would more commonly see him in something like Legion's lineup, maybe replace the Bubbles, throw in the Chipper there.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of lockdown heroes, the Pebbles, the Rhapsody, the Ophelia with the minions. Very easy to land the Rockets and the Sawblade Showdown and keep it onto heroes for, you know, a couple seconds, and that's when Chipper really can do a lot of damage and a lot of work. He's one of those heroes that he likes to snowball and thrives off of kills, as you said. But when he's in lineups like these where you kind of have, you know, you have a multi-carry lineup with the Chronos and the Puppet Master, your lineup needs a lot of time. You have the Behemoth who needs his portal key. There's just not a whole lot of plays that you can look to make, at least early on. And that kind of hurts Chipper as a hero a lot. He wants to be a hero that's in on the action constantly.
You got Kronos here. He does have an Energizer now and Steam Boots. I mean, Zane's got a lot of stat build up. He actually isn't doing too shabby, considering where this game's at. I mean, he's 0-0-0 actually. I thought he would have died once by now, but they've tried a couple times, but between Rewind and we saw the instance with the focus buffer as well, it has saved him. So at least Zane has been able to get some okay farm here for ECX's cause, and he's going to be level 11 soon. So you got, of course, a level 2 Chrono Field, a 1 second longer bubble as a result of that. Could possibly come into play. Portal key on Panny, it is basically here. So there we go. Yes, it's basically just a portal key in Striders, but as we know with Behemoth, that can still do plenty. So ECX, they once again have a little bit of hope kind of kicking through here. Madman's kind of getting a little crazy at the bottom lane. He's going to be fine, though. What do you think about Madman, by the way? He is going the Rune Cleaver route. You know, this is obviously a little bit later for Rune Cleaver. Again, kind of a recovery here. Does it still make sense to you to go for such item?
It's typical Boxy, to be honest, to go this type of build. It's what he's been doing, at least in the scrims that I've watched. And I think it's good and bad, and the reason I'll say that is on Legion's lineup, they definitely need physical damage to come from somewhere, and that's Madman. So if he were to go a more aggressive early build, that would hurt him in terms of how much he actually offers to his team in the team fights. But at the same time, their lineup speaks that they want to be, you know, taking these fights and objectives. And with Madman going for a cleaver, that means he wants to sit back and farm, obviously. So it's fine in the sense that he kind of needs it for himself so that he can be a threat. And as long as they get their second tier of items post portal keys, Bubbles picking up his sheep. That's a really early sheep, by the way, 20 minutes.
Wow.
And we're going to have action, actually.
Yeah, a little bit here, Rhapsody, but they feel this touch coming out. There's that Kronos field, though. Pebbles is caught in the midst of it. Chipper already taking plenty of damage, however. He does get his chainsaws off, but it's just too much in the end. Shockwave going through. Ophelia will feel a lot of that damage. He goes down to the background, though. Puppet Master is going to fall. He got the kill on Rhapsody just before, but doesn't really matter. Bubbles does go down, however. Pebbles with that double damage, though. So much auto attack damage. Kronos falls for the first time as a result. And now it's just Voodoo and Behemoth that are on the run. Pebbles going to catch him. Ophelia doing a work after death as he tends to. As Puppet Master buys back, as does Kronos, actually. They're trying to get a genocide here with this. So using a couple of important buybacks. Pebbles, can he get the portal key off? 3 seconds, 2 seconds? No, he has to turn around, go for the combo. Maybe go for Turco. One more auto attack. Oh, he's just out of range. The Energizer kicking in, and he gets the speed to survive. And now Pebbles, he's very likely going to fall right here. He's doing his best. Oh, my God, Make, with the portal key, is he actually going to escape here? Are you kidding me?
Has mana for the TP and 2 mana. And... Oh, wow, the rockets! Oh, wow, that is so close.
Oh, my God. That was beautiful.
Pretty insane that he'd lived like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what obviously them as play, like, they even saw that there. It's just like, wait, what? What just happened? Yeah.
Okay, so as good as that looks for ECX, on paper, they did use a buyback on both Kronos and Puppet Master, so...
Oh, yeah.
I would still say that BMG came out on top, even though they did lose 4 heroes.
Oh, that's not either.
Shipper gets taken out in the middle lane.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the point about Madman and the Cleaver. It's fine, honestly, because they have such a lead that they can take over control of most of the map and hold, you know, ECX to only be able to farm a small portion of the map. So that will give Madman a lot of time for him to get bigger and more scary. So he's going to pick up the Cleaver, and then I don't know what he's going to pick up next. It could be a Shrunken Head. It could be another greedy item that gives him more damage output. We'll have to see what box he chooses to go for. But the point being, BMG has enough time to get their next tier of items. You know, the Shrunken Head on the Pebbles, the Sheep, or whatever Bubbles, you know, goes for. This. In this case, it's the Sheep. And then Madman's next tier of items before they look to go into high ground and take objectives into ECX's base.
Yeah. God, when you also said that he had the sheep stick going into that last fight right there, I had to do double take on that one. And jeez, that was
yeah,
really
20-minute sheep stick, very impressive.
Portal key into sheep stick. Baltazar again showing that even on a hero like Bubbles, You still farm just fine and get these items very quickly here. So, yeah, 7-1-1, 500 plus gold per minute now. Obviously, a very successful Bubbles game to say the least. Right now, Shrunken Head on Pebbles, of course, huge on top of that.
Bottom lane.
As bottom lane, yep, they do catch Madman, and he is fairly squishy. In the end, it is going to be a kill. They used a lot, though, right there to get that kill. If anyone falls, it's going to be, I don't know about that trade anymore, as Kronos, he is going to be the one victim here. So only a 1-for-1 trade, but again, they used a lot. They're pretty much everything. I guess other than the Shockwave, really. So Behemoth still has his combo. In fact, that's probably why they're feeling good about maybe going back in right here. Behemoth does have the portal key. There's a Shrunken Head, though. He goes in the background. He catches a couple. Rhapsody and Ophelia falling quickly down, and they both go, actually. Voodoo Jester assisting with that. Now, Puppet Master, in the meantime, he's dealing with Pebbles back here, but he's living and gets the kill into Bubbles, and now Puppet Master survives ultimately with that Assassin Shroud. Now he's going to live once again, and Pebbles will fall. A genocide in the end for ECX. So this time, it is, as it appears, a very good fight for Evil Corporation.
That's insane. How did ECX come out so far ahead in that team fight?
Behemoth landed a huge shockwave, honestly.
I'm actually shocked that they were able to do so well. They did obviously not have Madman in that team fight, but they used multiple ultimates. I think it was 3 to take him out. So they didn't have 3 ultimates going into that team fight, even 4-on-5. That's a crazy team fight for ECX.
I'm with you. I mean, again, Shockwave was the only one. He did land a big one right there. He caught both Ophelia and Voodoo and Rhapsody, killed them until they ultimately died. So, took out the supporting cast right away. Bubbles was kind of in the midst of everyone, it looks like, and Pebbles was trying to get there, and he was dealing with Puppet Master the whole time, though, which they didn't even kill. So, yeah, just between great initiation, actually, somehow by ECX and choosing the right targets, they get the genocide. So yeah, despite this still being a pretty good lead for BMG, no doubt that's got to be a huge boost of confidence to ECX. And knowing that they can win a fight like that, and they are still definitely in this game, and in some ways ahead now, you could argue. So again, the carry route is one of those. A Puppet Master, he's got his kind of holy trinity of items, the Shrunken, the Assassin Shroud, the Whispering Helm. It's only going to get better from there. So, is Kronos? Yeah, Kronos is probably going a staff.
Staff of the Master, looks like the glowstone. I guess that's so Behemoth can jump into the sphere.
Okay.
That would be my best guess. I guess that way, does it increase the duration? I think just slightly. Okay, so a little bit longer disable for the team, and then Behemoth can jump in as well.
And it lowers the cooldown. I don't know exactly how much.
Okay, there's that too.
So overall, yeah, it's one of those staffs that it does quite a bit actually.
Sheepstick on the Chipper.
Overall, Chipper, he is gonna get caught, man. This has not been a good game for him. Continues that, unfortunately, another pick off there. But so you see kind of BMG now going back to what their big strength is getting these individual pickoffs here. Both Behemoth and Bubbles falling victim, or Behemoth and Chipper, excuse me, falling victim to that. But yeah,
that's what they got to do with the Sheepstick. Just buy time for Madman, who's gone the Cleaver, to get his either. I think he wants to go for a Shrunken now, just so he can stand up strong in these team fights. Voodoo Jester gets taken down. But it looks like ECX isn't done yet.
Oh, there we go. The Kronos field coming out once again. Catches 3 heroes. The damage, though, not necessarily that great. Rhapsody, in fact, is going to survive. Pebbles, he portal keys away. And they're all good. So, they, obviously, again, a couple of big ultimates used that time for no kills in the end for ECX. But good job by BMG getting away as a team. They do got the great supports between Rhapsody and Ophelia. Definitely save teammates there.
Yeah, Rhapsody was the one who they initiated on, and he just got healed up from Ophelia. I believe the Voodoo Puppet went out onto Pebbles, but he just popped the Shrunken, so he didn't take any damage. He wasn't being focused other than that, so E6 wasn't able to get any kills with those ultis being used. And okay, go ahead.
No, well, continue your point. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I would like to see BMG go for the Kongor once either they get a pick off or major ultimates are on cooldown, and right as that happens, we see BMG rotate over to the Kongor. So I think this should be an uncontested Kong. They will spot it out with the rockets, but they won't look to take this fight without the sphere and the voodoo puppet up.
Behemoth, another big thing there too, and he's at the top lane currently. So yeah, there's no way ECX is contesting this, even though they know it is going to be a free token for Madman there. Going to what I was going to bring up actually, so I've been kind of thinking on this staff of the Master for Kronos as we kind of figured out, talking it over. Yes, it does do a lot, and it does make sense in allowing Behemoth especially to be able to initiate, because again, you can now move in it, although slow, you're able to cast stuff in it. But that means Kronos is not going to be somewhat of a damage assistant carry, a secondary carry to the Puppet Master now. I mean, he still could do okay damage with the Curse of Ages especially, but it's not going to be as much, nearly as much, of course, as he could be doing. He's instead playing more the role of a initiator. Is that the best choice, you think? Do they need that, or do they need the idea of the more damage?
It's tough to say, really, because although they do have the Behemoth, they don't really have the greatest AoE crowd control, and we're going to have Sphere come out onto bubbles. Protectability just missing.
Rhapsody showing out for Portal Key there.
Go for more here.
Yeah,
that is a good point. Rhapsody picking up a Portal Key. That's always nice to have. But, yeah, Kronos is kind of like the team's AoE crowd controller. I know it's kind of odd to say that when they have a Behemoth, but Kronos kind of sets up the team fight for your team, and then it kind of really disrupts the positioning on the other team so that you can look to get those 1 or 2 hero kills right off the bat. I mean, they have the Puppet Master, who is doing quite well, so they don't necessarily need Kronos to be a damage dealer, at least right now. Eventually, after the staff, he'll probably either go for something like a Resto Stone to continue his lockdown trend, or then look to pick up something that gives him, the more scare factor damage presence. So yeah, I think it's fine that he is choosing to go for staff over something that would give himself more damage.
Okay. And
it really just goes back to them having the Behemoth. When you pick up a Kronos, you want to have some good AoE on your team, and the AoE is coming from Chipper and Behemoth. And if one of those 2 heroes can't deal his damage in the sphere, then you're really missing out on the combination of your heroes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Speaking of Kronos, unfortunately, he goes down, but so does Ophelia in a response. Behemoth, it did cost a shockwave to do so, but nice kill coming out right there. At least a response. They get out of there ASAP, though they know Madman and Pebbles, are both coming over. Bubbles is at the top lane, kind of dealing with Puppet Master, but yeah, not going to make a play just by himself. No way he's getting a kill onto the Puppet Master right there. So kind of toying with them, letting them know, like, yeah, this is our territory. You can go ahead and leave, sir. So Puppet, he's still curious, though. He's like, you know what? I wasn't finished exploring. He's going to go back in right here. And he may go for the kill. Oh, especially with that being it. And the Shell Surf. This is a dead Bubbles. So, yeah, he explores it and he finds the victim there. Good job by Imba Boy.
Yeah, that damage is ridiculous coming out of the Shroud into the Voodoo Puppet.
Yeah.
Level 3 Voodoo Puppet. Izzy is level 20. It's way too much damage for 1,000, little under 1,200 HP Bubbles. So yeah, let's take a look at some item progression. We've seen a Cyclone picked up on both Ophelia and Bubbles. Items like Cyclones and Tablets are always really good to pick up against both a Puppet Master and a Kronos, because obviously once you're locked down by a Kronos Field or even the Puppet Show, those tools are very good for stopping all of the crowd control and damage that'll come out in those durations. So it's really nice to see 2 Cyclones. I think I would have much rather seen a Tablet over the Cyclone onto Bubbles, so that way they have a way of pushing out of Chronosphere, and then they have the Cyclone on Ophelia, so they have 1 of each, but they choose to go for 2 Storms, which is okay. Pebbles goes for a Soul's Bulwark to follow up his Shrunken, so he has, they have at least 1 other Team Aura. They are missing the Abyssal, but it's kind of hard to say who should pick that up. Maybe Ophelia.
Yeah.
And Madman, as we talked about, did need his Shrunken, so he went for that as his follow-up item. And they're actually, it looks like, not going to use this token, just going to use it to farm, as it only has 30 seconds left, so I don't think they're going to get to use this token.
Well, as you say that, they're all grouping up middle lane, and they're actually going pretty aggressive here. Now, again, it only has 24 seconds and counting now
but
on it, so...
it's going to be too late by the time that they can make anything happen, an actual fight take place.
they did this 30 seconds ago, maybe, but...
Chipper and Kronos both have their Staff of the Masters completed, so a little bit more damage and lockdown with their combination, so that's good to see. And Voodoo Jester actually finding the farm to pick up a Astrolabe, and Behemoth getting a Void Talisman.
Good. You know,
I don't know. It's kind of tough to say Void in this game, but if he is being focused by Madman, obviously it will help him a lot. But there is a lot of magical damage, even from Madman.
Yeah, it is a great tool again. Yeah, obviously against Madman, it's one of those cases. If he's on him, at least he has a way to deal with that. But you're right. There's so much magic around it. It's almost like a risky pickup, one of those cases. But yeah, going for it. We'll see how that works for him. I want to mention Voodoo Jester. Honestly, it's great to see the Astrolabe on him. I know we've had histories of Voodoo Jesters in the past. I think Cielo has kind of been on that boat. He maybe tends to play this hero every once in a while, but. Or we've seen Voodoo Jester kind of go all in on the idea of like their ultimate, like go like a shrunken head or try to even get a staff, things like that.
Fair.
As Ophelia is caught over here, but this is definitely going to make a fight take place. Protected Melody out at the side, and Ophelia is going to survive as a result of that. Meanwhile, the background Bubbles got picked off right away, by the way, and so they're already starting 4 versus 5 now. Voodoo Jester going to get killed in return. Puppet Master though, he's still alive. He has a hard cons, by the way. He just got right here, so he's dealing a lot of damage now. As it is a 2-for-2, but Puppet Master, Assassin Trout, he's thinking about going back in. They do catch Kronos up here, but rewind, kick it in once again, gonna survive initially. Behemoth Shockwave, they do kill Kronos, but at what cost right here? Rhapsody and Pebbles go down. Boxy now caught. He's gonna try to go around with that Q of his, the stock, and actually is gonna somehow make it out of here. So a good escape from Boxy. But man, yeah, Bubbles just melted, and I was wondering, but I guess Puppet with the Harkons especially must have just nearly two-shot him or something in that fight. So
yeah, so that's even more, because that's gonna do -5 magic armor. So that's gonna amplify Puppet's burst coming out of the Voodoo Puppet that much further. Ridiculous amounts of damage.
This is something, again, it really did seem like this is going to be a runaway game for BMG. And then all of a sudden that one fight at the bottom especially where they got a genocide with the one ultimate in the Shockwave, really. And it has kind of been a case of ECX has been doing enough to not only hang in there, but, again, have positives. This Puppet especially is the big part of that. And now with the Harkons, as we're talking about. And they definitely got the initiation. I mean, when it comes to team fight, this is a very scary team here on the Hellborn side. So, I think in a lot of ways you got to think ECX is ahead, in some ways at least.
Yeah, even or the stats suggest, BMG's ahead by 10k and 2.5 or 2.6k experience, but it feels definitely, with how the team fights are going and with the heroes having the dual carry lineup on ECX's side, it feels like they're ahead. And so I was going to point out, Bubbles has now died twice, almost kind of back-to-back to this Puppet Master. And that's kind of been his, okay, we have initiation.
Bubbles, speaking of him again, now he's going to survive right here. The Protected Melody and everything else going to survive as there comes a Kronos for those several heroes caught in the midst of it. Again, the Hellborn can move, though, and the duration, it seems like it lasts forever. Now Puppet Master caught, though. The lockdown on the ham. Can he survive? Oh, the fissure! It somewhat blocked him, unfortunately. You get the idea there. Whether it would have made a difference, it's debatable, but still. Puppet Master goes down. Behemoth jumps in with the Shockwave. Madman, though, trying to survive. Does he have a curse ground on him? No, he is actually fine with that. Going back in with the barrel roll. He's got a portal key, by the way. Boxy, what the hell? Where did that come from? He gets a hat trick as a result of this now. And Chipper's on the run, but here comes the stock from Madman. And, hey, he has a portal key just in case anyways. Chipper is going to be killed. Quad kill for Boxy. That item came out, and we're Harkons all of a sudden, and now a portal key on Madman. And a brutalizer.
Portal key and brutalizer, yeah.
What the hell?
I don't know. There's some crazy stuff going on. The Kronos field was massive. It caught multiple heroes, and it looked like ECX was just going to come away with the team fight once that came out. But the sustain was there. I guess the Ophelia throwing out the heal. And then Madman eventually coming in, picking up a quad kill, and he's gonna actually maybe get this bottom racks. Puppet is gonna use his final buyback, so.
Behemoth, he can't catch him though. Yeah, Madman just a little too quick again, especially with the portal key, the distance he's able to make. It's just too much, and I just saw a portal key on Fusion as well. Like, so, what the? They're going to have a 5 portal key team.
That isn't as surprising to me as Madman picking up a portal key because he does have the Cyclone, and Ophelia, it seems, is never really the one getting initiated on. It's always Bubbles or even Madman, maybe even Pebbles. So Ophelia picking up the portal key actually is not that surprising because he does have the Cyclone, so he can get in there from far away and save whoever does get initiated on.
Yeah.
So I actually like that a lot.
No, the logic definitely is there. It still is just.
It's good.
This has got to be the first time we've seen an Ophelia portal key. Like, I can't remember a game ever.
I wouldn't go that far of a stretch as to say first time, but it's not super common. But at the same time, it's not unrealistic, I'll say.
Okay.
I was gonna say uncommon, but that'd be like saying the same thing twice, kind of almost.
Contradicting yourself, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like out of the question, and it makes a lot of sense.
It does. No, hey, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's the point you brought up. I agree. It does make that sense. It's also just the idea that we're seeing now a 5 portal key like 5-man portal key team. Like that in itself is so rare too, to see every single hero having a portal key, but. BMG, they love to be active, notorious for that, of course. And sure enough, what better item to get than, well, the portal key to make that a point. So I think I just saw Glowstone on Bubbles, too, and I got to believe that Staff of the Master on him could be possible coming out here. The superior stun now as a result of the Staff of the Master as well. What else does it do?
I've been hearing a lot about this Bubbles staff, and I don't know if I've actually ever seen it in practice yet, like even in TMM or whatnot.
Okay.
So if he does manage to pick that up, I'm actually quite interested to see how that works, like how effective it actually is.
We've seen it a couple times.
On paper, it sounds like it's pretty decent, as heroes are going to pick up their Shrunkins.
Mm-hmm.
But you were saying, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, we have seen it a couple times. We have seen it a couple times here on the competitive scene. I think when it first happened, a little bit ago here, we saw, a couple times and people kind of curious with it. So it's just, I will say one thing we did learn from it, it's not the initial stun that has the impact, it's the running away.
It's when they break the kelp, right?
When they try to break it, yeah. So in this case, the Puppet Master. Now that's where you can argue: is it really that great this game? Because there's only one hero with a shrunken head. Sure, it happens to be the carry and Puppet Master, which is pretty big. But I mean, it is only the one hero. So you're literally getting a 4,200 gold item for one hero, which again, it is the carry, so that's fair. But
I guess it technically ups the damage. So at least when you initially kelp heroes, they'll take more damage, as well as when they break the leash. I think that's how it works anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It says damage and stun.
So yeah, they take the damage. Yeah, converts the damage and the stun to superior magic, essentially. So, bottom lane though, we got initiation. Pebble's gonna be jump. Immediate response from Madman. He's got Rift Shards now. He goes right on a Puppet Master. But Puppet's able to kite away someone. Out comes that Kelpfield. Chipper kind of caught by that, but Pebbles, oh yeah, he did die, but he buys back, and he's immediately trying to get back here ASAP. Shockwave, though, from Behemoth. They get the kill on a Madman. Bubbles is also going to fall now. He's got to take cover, but it's just going to delay the inevitable there. And another one, fight for ECX. Really a 3-for-1 exchange right there. Again, Pebbles dying and buying back immediately, but you know what? Something I've overlooked here, Immaboy has bought back twice in this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
That Rax attempt by Madman in the bottom lane was Puppet's final buyout, preventing that Rax from falling. And Madman actually picked up a Rift Shards now. Rift Shards 1 only, but I didn't actually notice it in the fight, but it looked like he tore at least 1 or 2 heroes really quickly.
I will say, so it's very clear what his goal is, especially. Like, he porta-keyed right on top of Puppet Master and just started putting auto attacks into him. So, I did not see a crit pop up, though, and Puppet Master was able to escape from it. They eventually kited away. And, yeah, he obviously did some decent damage, but didn't get the target that he really wanted, of course, in the beginning. So, that's where ECX is good for them, no matter how they do it. But, yeah, keep Puppet Master alive is very important here to their strategy, of course. So Puppet's got another 3,500 gold saved up. Again, he is out of buybacks now, but gonna see another big item coming out, perhaps.
Kronos goes in Arcana, so it should be the Refresher to follow up his staff, which is the very typical utility Kronos builds. So that is not surprising to me at all.
Yeah, it really is something that it's been so long to like this was such a dominant strategy in the later part. Again, I believe it was season 3, where like it was such a go-to, the Suicide Kronos
Offlane Kronos, yeah.
with the staff.
Yeah, Kronos was super strong at that point. I remember he was like in every single game, either picked or I think even blind banned. So yeah, Kronos, I don't miss those days, to be honest. It was so frustrating playing against Refresher Kronos or just Kronos in general every single game.
Oh yeah. Well, Zane trying to bring it back a little bit here.
Those crits are doing a lot to Kong. Seeing those 800s pop up.
Oh, I didn't even notice. I was watching like the tiptoe over here, and then sure enough, Congress dead. Okay.
That's interesting. So he drops the Shrunken. Pebbles picks it up to hold on to it for him as his token slot.
Wait, Pebbles?
That I would have thought he would have dropped the portal key over the Shrunken, but I guess he feels that the mobility is more. Since he has the token, he doesn't necessarily need the Shrunken, but I don't know if that's the correct one to drop, in my opinion. Really valuing the mobility.
Curious, yeah. Rhapsody was the one that got it, and she actually dropped it off in the well right there.
Okay, so then Pebbles passed it over to Rhapsody, and Rhapsody went to base with it. Okay.
Yeah. But no, yeah, that's again, it really is that trade-off because, like I said, clearly in the last fight, like he literally portal keyed in right away on top of Puppet and just started doing damage. So obviously, if you don't have the portal key, then that isn't as easy. But yes, you're right. You know, not having the Shrunk, it leaves him very vulnerable to getting locked down by said Puppet Master. Or, you know, plenty of lockdown in general from this Hellborn team.
His thought process could be he's gonna either get locked down by Sphere anyway, and it's not gonna help him. Or he's going to get locked down by Puppet, and then he's going to need one of his 2 supporting cast heroes to blink in and cyclone him. So that could be his thought process. And it could be, okay, I'd rather have the portal key to either A, you know, get on top of Puppet Master right away, or get out, or I just trust my team with the cyclones to save me when I get spells casted on me. So that, I think, is his thought process with dropping the Shrunken at the moment over the portal key.
Okay. Well, that's what he did here. Getting the token. About 3 minutes remaining. They're going to push the bottom lane, going right for the rack. So here we go with Mame. Look at the courier, by the way. So yeah, the courier on that with that Shrunken, I'm pretty sure, as you're talking about, kind of keeping it going back and forth for when he does eventually die. Going to be able to have it deliver said Shrunken. There we go, Mame. No, he jukes a little bit on the Rockets right there. We're off to the side. They get the quick pick on the Voodoo Jets, but look at Boxy. He is going to die right there. The Storm Spirit doesn't even matter. Kronos in the meantime. Kronos field. He can't even get it off. He's silenced this whole time. Finally goes off right there. Mamman is caught. Mamman's going to fall. Shrunken or not, he goes down as that shockwave doing plenty. The Kronos field on top of that. Bubbles. He's in trouble now. Rhapsody goes down. Hat trick for Imba Boy. They do lose the racks right there, but they get a lot out of it in terms of hero kills. Double damage rune here, by the way, the bottom. And Pebbles walked right by it. So Hellborn team might be able to pick that up here. They could push themselves now. So, I mean, mission accomplished, kind of, and getting the racks at least, but this is still more time for ECX to actually make a play now. Madman does have a
To be honest, I don't think that racks is as big of a deal as it seems. And I know that sounds crazy because it is a racks, but as you were able to see, I don't know how much you kept your camera on Madman during that entire fight. Madman didn't hit a hero, I don't think, once. With the token and with the respawn.
Yep.
He got locked down, bursted down from the Behemoth, wasn't able to auto-attack a single time. So you can tell when he doesn't have the Shrunken how much he can actually do in team fights.
Yep, the mobility was definitely a factor. Lack of mobility, for that matter, because of the lack of Shrunken head, absolutely. So it's almost like the token was a little bit of a curse there for BMG. It's almost like they would have been better off just giving it to, say, Pebbles or something like that, and just having Mammon keep the Shrunken instead in his full inventory there. But
yeah, now they did get the racks, which is what they came for, and they didn't end up losing anything significant at the same time. So It is, I guess, okay in the end. They do come out ahead in terms of the buildings. But you got to remember that there is a dual carry lineup on Hellborn's side, and the longer the game goes, we're approaching the 50-minute mark now. We could have initiation in the jungle. No, it looks like they will get out. But yeah, the longer this goes, you definitely got to favor ECX's late game. So
And yeah, the Resto Stone on Kronos, it is very close now. As there's a symbol, it's going to be coming here for Puppet Master. He actually bought the Axe of the Malphite at least, so still might need the pattern, I believe. But he is going to be having a similar rage here on top of that Harkon's Blade. A lot of... Now, okay, so the obvious here is that it is an attack modifier in the Harkons compared to the lifesteal. Now, ideally, he's just going to be using the Harkons as the attack modifier, and again, just simply use the symbol effect for the actual heal itself. The burst heal, that is. So that is worth mentioning. I mean, he has had the stacking attack modifiers here for a little bit with the Whispering Helm and the Harkons. But it's just, the Harkons is so much more damage, so much more value out of it. And, you know, knowing that as Zimbabwe, as good of a player he is, I wouldn't be surprised if he's been switching between the auras, you know, in certain cases. So
yeah, definitely. I know, or some of the players that I've played with, they set the binds when they want to use multiple orbs, and then they toggle them into team fights. It is more difficult to do, definitely, because you have a lot to focus on. But if you can manage to switch on and off your orbs, power to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and again, the symbol effect itself is not an attack modifier, so that will work no matter what, no matter if you have the Harkons on or not. Anyways, the point is he's going to be able to have that here soon, and that's going to be something that BMG now will have to try to break through as well. Kongor, it's going to be a little bit here, I believe, still probably another 2 to 3 minutes at least. So that will be bananas, though, this time around. It will be the third Kongor kill, so that's going to be a...
Nullstone on Bubbles was not a step for the Master, so he wants to not get that initial crowd control spell from Puppet onto him to be able to get off his Cyclone and Sheepstick, as well as the Kelp and everything else. But actually surprised that it was. I did not see a Nullstone coming, to be honest.
Yeah, just a later Nullstone. It's not like they have that global presence of the Sand Wraith or anything. It does feel a little off. Like it's understandable that I think we both went to the idea of the staff first, because if anything, even though it was just the one shrunken head here, again, it still is a very high priority target in Puppet Master. So I think you could argue, actually, staff probably would have been better.
And it's also a case of there's so much AoE from multiple heroes that the amount of single target is almost kind of like, okay, I might block, you know, the Puppet show, but I could still get stunned from somebody else. Sphere gonna come out onto Bubbles in the jungle here.
Does he have the backup though? Meanwhile, over here, Puppet's caught by Pebbles over here, so a lot of split fight going on. Not really though. Kronos now, he's actually dying, and he will go down all of a sudden. Rhapsody's picked off, but now another fight breaks out. Behemoth, he's gonna fall as well. He did use the shockwave, but he goes down shortly after. Kronos, or that was Voodoo Jester got picked up. Behemoth popped back, by the way. He is trying to come back in. Chipper, he's gonna drop too quickly. That was so odd. The fight, it's like they both kind of started and then didn't, and then ECX tried to really go in, and they just fell victim completely. A quad kill for Poxy, in fact.
Yeah, that was just really unfortunate. I don't know, another shockwave with the Resto Stone actually picked up.
Oh, wow, yeah, he just got that, so kind of trying to catch him off guard. It does catch Mammoth off guard, but now Puppet Master, he's falling. Can he get the similar range off? That's the question. Yes, he can. Down goes Pebbles, and now Ophelia in trouble. The Storm Spirit trying to save herself. The tower goes down. Bubbles is also trying to make an escape, but look at this. They come back with a buyback. The post haste. They're sitting on Puppet Master right here. He does not have a symbol anymore, and he will fall in the end. So they're going to clean up the racks, and I think BMG may have just broken through right there. They're going right for the Tier 4 and right for the Shrine, so that should do it. BMG will take game number 1. What an odd finish, though, really. I mean, that fight in the jungle, again, as you're just getting to, that was... It was odd. I think that's the best way to describe it. What would you think?
It felt like we had two different pages from ECX's side. One page is saying, okay, let's jump, I'm sphering right now, and then the rest of the team either got distracted with something happening in the background, because I didn't quite catch it, or they just weren't able to get there to follow up. And so one sphere really didn't do a whole lot. And then I don't even think he was able to get the second one off because he got stormed into Stalagmite stunned from Pebbles. So just not able to really utilize their ultimates in a enclosed area. And then Behemoth comes in with a single target shockwave. So it was just from there, it was just not looking too good. But yeah, if that fight didn't happen, I think that game could have went really either way. It was so close back and forth with how the fights were going. But that was a really entertaining game one, I gotta say.
Oh,
Really bad.
absolutely.
Really, BMG took a commanding lead in the beginning half of the game, and ECX with a lot of really good team fights kept the game really close and even arguably in their favor, even being down one Rex. That was a really tense game.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing from it. I mean, obviously not to take away from BMG at all, but it's like for how good of a game that turned out to be, especially after just the dominating start from BMG. Yeah, E6 calming it down and it's definitely making some comebacks. Just from some funky picks as well, some item picks even, some debatable stuff. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in that game, but then to have that finish, it's like all of a sudden